Okay, good morning, guys. How are you today? Good morning, online. Yes, I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. Looks like many people got upset. Basar came today. Yes, I'm doing good. So we are at the end of, yeah. Okay. So what did we discuss in our last class? Cache, did you complete it? Worked from Linux? Very nice. Very good. How about online? Did you complete the practicals? Okay, so today what we're gonna do is, okay, do it. What we're gonna do is, we will take another developer topic. Which one? Developer topic. And this topic is very important for developers, but for an AWS engineer and architect, it's not, it's good to know, but it's not that, I would say, okay, it's good to know. Okay. If I say it's not required, you will completely take it out of your mind. That's not good. I'll say important itself. But the thing is, this will be mostly used by the developers. So let's take the next database service. Okay, which is the service, which is a NoSQL service in AWS? DynamoDB. Which one, Nana? DynamoDB. So let's talk today about this DynamoDB. DynamoDB is completely a NoSQL database service. Which one, Nana? NoSQL. So I'll just quickly sharing my screen. Can you please confirm? Can you see my screen and can you hear me well? Online? Okay. Okay. You know that I don't like to go with the with the PPTs, but for a couple of slides, few slides, I'll go with it. To talk about NoSQL, we need to know a little bit background of it. Okay. So you know the very traditional architecture that we used to have. You have an application will be connected to the database. Correct? No? Database, our database is RDBMS databases. Till now, we have been using MySQL, Postgres, Oracle, MS SQL Server, all these type of RDBMS databases that we have used. Correct? That is our traditional approach since very long time. And do you remember how do you retrieve the data from the databases using queries? What's that? SQL queries. Do you remember SQL queries in our college days that we have learned? And nowadays also, in companies also we write SQL queries to retrieve the data. So I'm very big fan of the queries. I used to write a lot of queries with subqueries concept. Do you remember subqueries concept? Right? We have subqueries, joins, inner join, outer joins, right? So many types of there. So basically, you have a databases, and from application, if you want to retrieve the data, you need to write the queries and then retrieve the data. And of course, it has tables, rows, columns, joins, indexes, etc., etc. And we can do aggregations also, computation also, average sum, everything we will be doing through queries to RDBMS databases. And our RDS is RDBMS databases only, no? So now, if you want to increase the performance of your RDS, what are the ways that you can increase the performance? One is read replica, another one is scale up. Another one is scale up. So scale up meaning is a vertical scaling or horizontal scaling? Vertical scaling. Which one? vertical scaling. So from 10, let's say 4 GB, you increase to 8, 8 to 16, 16 to 32, 32, 64. So you will keep on scaling up your databases machine to give the good performance. For how long will you keep on increasing it? Will you go for 100 GB, 200, 300, 400, 500, 900, 1000? Will you keep on increasing? No. So as I said, RDBMS has a problem. It is good for certain limit only. After that, it is very hard. So if you want to get a extreme high performance, do you recommend RDBMS? Answer is no. So for that reason, many of the companies of big organizations, they came up with this concept called NoSQL databases. What is that? NoSQL. NoSQL meaning people in the previous years, they worked only on SQL. But these people came up with something called NoSQL. SQL, and here now NoSQL. No meaning not only SQL. Which one? Not only SQL. NO represents as not only. So many people are saying, Are bhai, don't die only knowing SQL. There is something also called NoSQL. So if you need to have an extreme high performance for your application, which one do you suggest? RDBMS or NoSQL? NoSQL. RDBMS, what is the full form of RDBMS? Relational Database Management System. It's a relational databases, are right? And this NoSQL is non-relational databases. Which one? Non-relational. Relational, non-relational. Relation is RDBMS, non-relation is NoSQL. Right? So here, relational database meaning relational is like a family person. Like a family, like our Venkatesh movies. Right? Family movies, like, very very bound to relations, respect to the relations. Once you stick on, you will not go out, right? So that is completely a RDB, relational databases. Non-relational databases is like just now you said, no, Animal, Arjun Reddy, right? All this type of, things are all non-relational. It's very flexible. They are not bound to any relations. They are not bound to any relations. However, they feel they'll do. Right? These are non-relational. Our NoSQLs are like non-relational. Our NoSQLs are like non-SQL. So instead of doing scaling up for RDBMS, it's very expensive, right? So instead of doing for one machine scale up, instead of doing vertical scaling, can we now concentrate on horizontal scaling? Horizontal scaling, you can have n number of servers. And each n number of servers has very good amount of memory. So your load can be spread to multiple machines instead of only one machine. So this NoSQL concept more focus on horizontal scaling. Scale out, scale in. You're getting it. So I'll tell you here, as I said, NoSQL meaning not only SQL. So NoSQLs are relational databases or non-relational databases? Non-relational. And then let's say, have you ever tried to create a table in MS SQL, MySQL, anywhere? Did you create a table? Okay. So if you have created a table, what is the syntax of creating table? Create, first you create a database. After that, you create table, table name, and then in brackets, you need to give the columns. In brackets, you need to give the column. Column number 1 and its data type. Column number 2, its data type. So Nana, can you just go ahead and just create a table just like that without any proper planning? Can you create it? No. And what are the columns that you put it? Do you know? Can you randomly put some columns there? It is based on the application. Based on the application. So application, what exactly they need, you need to create the columns there. First name, last name, employee ID, employee number, what exactly? So you need to put. So you cannot create a table just like that. And once you create a table and you put a lot of data inside it, later you got a requirement that you need to add a new column. Is that possible? No. So because it already has so much of data. In RDBMS, adding a column, replacing the column, adding null values, these are all very difficult things. And remember, that is relational databases. You have keys, no? What keys are those? Primary keys, foreign keys. All these things are very, 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 very strong bound to relationships. All reference keys and all. But here, whereas in NoSQL, you no need to worry on the fixed columns. You can create a table with only one column. You can create a table with one column. Later, you can add n number of columns. Is that possible in RDBMS? Flexible. Here it is flexible. And schemas. What is the column names? All this got schemas only, no? And these schemas are very flexible here, dynamic. Whereas in RDBMS, it's bound, it fixed columns. Whereas in NoSQL, no, can you create a table with only one column generally? No. But here in NoSQL, you can create a table with only one column. Once table got created, once in your free time also, you can go and add the number of columns. That is the beauty of NoSQL. But this NoSQL, in RDBMS, you can write big queries. You can write big queries. Very complex queries you can write and retrieve the data from multiple tables. But this NoSQL, it's not meant for retrieving the big queries, getting the data. It is used to give the high performance, extreme high performance. This NoSQL doesn't support complex queries. Which one supports complex queries? RDBMS supports complex. Does the NoSQL support complex queries? And does it, our NoSQL support aggregations, some computations? No, it doesn't support all these things, right? And NoSQL databases, what are the examples of NoSQL databases in the market? MongoDB is there. DynamoDB is from AWS in the market. In the market, we have MongoDB, Cassandra. Yesterday, we have seen Redis. Redis is also NoSQL only. Redis is also NoSQL only. So yes, Couchbase. There are so many RavenDB, Couchbase, HBase. There are so many databases are there. These are all NoSQL databases. As in the market, there are so many databases like this. AWS also need to come up with some NoSQL database. No, and what is the database? AWS came up with DynamoDB. So instead of using MongoDB, Cassandra, all these things, AWS has its own NoSQL database service, which is called DynamoDB. And if you say, sir, no, I want MongoDB. Yeah, there is a separate service for MongoDB also. Sir, I need Cassandra. Yes, there is a separate database service for supporting Cassandra also. Right? So, but here DynamoDB is a purely AWS NoSQL database service. Getting in enough? So let me give you quick difference between SQL and NoSQL here. SQL is generally used where? In RDBMS. NoSQL is used for non-relational databases. And here in SQL, everything is structured data, no? Everything is structured data and all the things you need to properly store in the tables and retrieve the data. Whereas here NoSQL is unstructured data. It is in, no need to be in tables. It can be JSON also, right? It can be any other format, mainly JSON. And the schemas are static here, yes or no? In RDBMS, schemas are static, whereas here schemas are dynamic. And schemas are rigid and bound to relationships for RDBMS, whereas here, any relationship? No, schemas are not rigid, they are flexible. And RDBMS supports complex queries? RDBMS supports complex queries. NoSQL? No. Here we call it as tables, rows, but in NoSQL we call it as collections and documents. What do we call? Collections. Here also in NoSQL we call it as tables, rows and all, but officially they call it as collections and documents. And what are the examples for SQL, Nana? MySQL, Oracle, SQLite, Postgres, MS SQL, all, not only this, there are so many will come under RDBMS. Whereas in NoSQL, MongoDB, Bigtable, Redis, RavenDB, Cassandra, HBase, Neo4j, CouchDB. There are so many, not only this, there are so many there will come under NoSQL. No. Who will be deciding whether they need to use RDBMS or NoSQL? Is it we or developers? Developers, not we. Because the application is developed by whom? Developers only. And database need to be decided by the developers only. And they will be telling us as to the AWS engineer saying that, hey, Babu, if it is RDBMS, set up a database in RDS. If not, set up create, and then or else they will be using DynamoDB. Okay, now. But the question in DynamoDB, Nana, in RDS, we will be going setting up DB instance. In RDS, we'll be going setting up DB instance. We are required. AWS engineers are required because you see, there are so many things can be done, right? But whereas in DynamoDB, there is nothing to do. In DynamoDB, there is nothing to do. DynamoDB is serverless. DynamoDB is, if there is serverless, is there any job for us there? Because the it is managed by AWS. In DynamoDB, directly you need to create a table. In DynamoDB, directly we need to create what, Nana? Table. Do we create a table? How do we know what kind of columns should be there? Right? So this DynamoDB, that's why I said this DynamoDB is completely used by developers on, not us. But as an AWS engineer and architect, we should also know what is DynamoDB and what is there inside it, what it contains. For that reason, instead of skipping it, so I'm just telling all this, even though it is related to developers. Okay. And please tune your brains to developer mode from now on. For this class, tune your brain to developer mode. Tune it. Shake your head. Right? Tune it. So if you are in architect mode or engineer mode, this DynamoDB will not inject in your brains. Thinking, saying that, oh, why should I do this? Is developer work now? Why should I talk? Why should I learn? No. So consider for now, you are a developer. Okay. Very good, Rupali. Okay. So in NoSQL databases, there are different types, different models are there in NoSQL. NoSQL is just like ice cream. In ice cream, we have so many flavors, no? Similarly, NoSQL is a database, is a service. NoSQL is a model. In this, you have different types of categories. We call it as columnar databases. What is it, Nana? Columnar. Say that. Columnar databases, graph database, document database, key value database. So in columnar, so these are all the different types of databases that are available in NoSQL. Based on the requirement, developer will choose which model they need. Example, coming to key value. That means the last one here, key value. In key value, what kind of databases that you will get here? Do you see this? Redis, Memcached, right? A scalar is, so there are so many databases will come under key value. Our Redis will come under which one? Can you go back to Elastic Cache in your notes and write Elastic Cache support key value NoSQL database. Elastic Cache supports key value NoSQL database. Okay. Elastic Cache supports key value NoSQL database. Okay. Every time you'll say MongoDB, no? So this MongoDB will come under document-based database. Which one? No? Document-based. MongoDB, CouchDB, OrientDB, RavenDB, all these things will come under document-based. Columnar database. Which one? Columnar database, your big data. Big data, everything will come under columnar databases. Like Cassandra, Bigtable, HBase, Hypertable, all this will come under columnar database. And next we have here something called graph database. So graph database like Neo4j, InfroGrid, Infinite Graph, LogDB, everything will come under which model? graph database. Graph database is a little bit interesting and complex. Like, let's say, for example, you have Facebook. Let's say you have uploaded the photo. Your friends liked, and that like will go to their friends also. Someone will comment it. There, someone will like it. There, someone will like it. From there, we don't know where at all it will go. But everything should have link or not? Everything should have link or not? How do you maintain all these links? So is it possible with your SQL server, RDBMS? No. So you have a different types of models, which graph databases, all these kind of things will be helpful to maintain all this data in the backend. Got this? Okay. Let's see the difference between here DynamoDB versus RDS. We know what is RDS. End to end we have learned. RDS is server based or serverless? Server based. But whereas DynamoDB is serverless. DynamoDB is serverless. And Nana, if you want to increase the performance in RDS, what do? We create a read replicas and then we'll scale up. Now, if you want to scale up, can you do it on fly? No. What you need to do? Stop the DB instance and then scale up. So that means there will be a downtime or not. But whereas in DynamoDB, no downtime. We call it as push button scaling. What is that? Push button. So let's say, for example, DynamoDB is there. It's a serverless or server-based? Serverless. If you go in, there are a couple of numbers are there. What is that? Numbers. If you put that numbers, more numbers, bigger value numbers, automatically DynamoDB performance will increase. Automatically it will decrease. Automatically increase, automatically decrease. That is called push button scaling. So if you push a button, automatically power up will happen, right? Similarly, here also in DynamoDB, if you push button, automatically DynamoDB performance will scale up. Do you need to have any downtime? No, it is on fly. Your performance can increase in DynamoDB. DynamoDB is very, 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 very powerful. It supports millions of requests per second within millisecond latency. Millisecond, not even 1 second latency, millisecond latency. Trillions of records it will show, but millions of requests it will handle it. It's too super fast. Okay. So do you all agree? DynamoDB is serverless. Do you know understood what is push button scaling? Push button scaling need downtime? No, you just put some numbers, automatically DynamoDB performance will increase and decrease based on the numbers. What are those numbers? We'll learn today. Okay. Okay. These are all very common. I want you to keep this in mind. Reads. Now, for database, what do? We read or we write. Yes or no? We read or we write. In reads, remember in S3, we have consistency models. Remember? In S3, we had a consistency models, no? So here also in DynamoDB, we have consistency models, mainly two. What are those two? Eventually consistency reads, strongly consistency reads. In reads itself, we have two types. In reads itself, we have two types. What is that? Eventually consistency reads, strongly consistent. In shortcut, we call it as ECR, SCR. What is that? ECR, SCR. In writes are reads are. Reads on. In reads, we have two models. What are those? ECR, SCR. Keep that in mind. We'll talk about this later. Okay, so I don't like going with this PPTs. Let me move to my old school, right? So most of the people here know about what is a database. What is a table? What is a table? Collection of rows and columns. Yes or no? Okay. Those who don't know the table itself, in Excel, everyone might have used Excel sheet, right? What do we do in Excel sheet? What is there in Excel sheet? Rows and columns only, no? That the bus. The top one we call it as rows. I mean, the top one we call it as columns, and then the horizontal lines we call it as rows. You put the columns and you put the data inside it. Here also similarly, we have a table. Let me give those who are very new to the development. This will be helpful for you, please. Okay, now tell me, in your college days, whenever your teacher or lecturer asked you to create a table, what is that sample table that you always create? What table that you create? Student table and employee table, no? Remember, what is that? Employee table. We always go and create employee table. Okay. What are the columns that you have in employee table? Wait, I'll write. Mm. First, one by one. Employee. First, employee number will be there, no? Employee number, employee name, uh, phone number, salary, department. Okay, enough. Why I have only 5 columns? Because there is no space. I cannot keep on creating it. So, okay. So we have this. What are these called? What are these called? Columns. What are these called? We call it as columns. Now, please concentrate. I'll make this developer topic also very easy for you. These are called columns. Now, we need to put the data inside it, no? What are these data called? Rows. What are these data? Rows. Let's say, for example, employee number 1000. Employee name. Tell me some name. Raju. Phone number. Salary. How much you want? Take 20 lakhs. Which department? IT department. Next. 1001. Next. Rania. Oh, you said Raju. That's why. Okay. I don't want Rani. Okay, let's say Rani. Okay. How much? From Raju, little bit increase or decrease? Why? Rani should be always, I'll give 30 lakhs to Rani. Huh? DevOps. 1002. Next. Month. Arey. Mantri. Tell me your names, sir. Raju, Mantri, Sipai, Bhatu. Okay. Raj. Next. Give me some names. Valid names. Mahesh. Uh, Mahesh. Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli doesn't need job. So Mahesh 40 lakhs. So he's admin. Next 1003. Omkar Annaya. Bogavadu. Okay. It's not good. Okay. So next Vamshi. So random number. Sundaram Master. 50 lakhs from AWS. Okay. So Pallavi Prashanta. Yeah. Difficultly he won, but he's in people are okay. Okay, so I'll give one last one. 1004. Shikawat. Sharat I'll give. Sharath. So some number 60 lakhs AWS. Yes, sir. Okay. So what are all these called, Nana? Rows. What are all these called? Rows. So we call it as rows. In DynamoDB, columns are called attributes. What is that? Rows are called items. Rows are called items. Now tell me, what is a table here? Collection of attributes plus items. Collection of attributes and items. Divya has too much of expectations on me. Sir, for 1 crore. Okay. If it is, no, sir, it is real. Yeah, yeah. Good. Thank you. If it is 1 crore every month, I will purchase one building here. Okay. But in real time, in real time, it is not good to have that much of big salary. Okay. So because of course, if it takes 80 lakhs also, you have a tax more than 30%. And then main important thing is if uh, if the company is in little bit shaking state, the first person that the CEO or CFO will look is who is the highest salary in the company. Is he delivering a valid productivity or not? So if that position got removed, let's say 80 lakhs guy, how many freshers, how many little bit 4, 3, 5 years experience people can be saved, half of the company can be saved. For that reason, you have to be like very, 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 very careful when you are going for the higher salaries. It's good to go for higher salaries, but you should have a limit. Okay. Mm. That is real time. I also do the same thing. Right. So, okay, Mai, I agree, Divya. Okay. All right. So now you understand all these things. What is a table? Table contains the uh, collection of rows, columns, and rows and columns. Here we call it as attributes and items. So now tell me, have you heard about the word called primary key? What is primary key? Hmm. What is primary key? What is primary key? The value should be always unique and not null. Agree, everyone? So primary key meaning the value should be always unique and it should be not null. So now tell me in this table, which is a column that we can mention as a primary key? Employee number. Very good. So employee number will be a primary key. PK. So is it possible that employee, okay, now tell me, is it possible to have 1,000 here? No, because 1,000 is already taken. So no duplicate values can be allowed in this column. So that is called primary key. And is it possible to have null values also? Null value meaning empty. Empty also you cannot have it for the primary key. Okay. So now that is the primary key. Now this primary key in DynamoDB, we call it as partition key. What key? Partition key, primary key, both are same. In DynamoDB, we call it as partition key. What key is that? Partition key. Okay. As I told you, DynamoDB is serverless. Agree? DynamoDB is serverless. As it is serverless, what you need to create directly? Directly, we need to create a table. In DynamoDB, what we need to create, Nana, directly? Table, because there is no server, no database concept here. There is no database concept. Directly, you need to create what? Table. Directly, you need to create a table. Okay, now, in DynamoDB, you need to create a table with only single column. Which one? Only one column. So you need to create a DynamoDB table with only one single column. At the time of creating a table, you need to give only one single column, and that single column should be primary key. And create the table. Later, you can go and add n number of columns. But while creating a table, you need to give only one column name, and that column should be primary key. That column should be primary key. I'm repeating again. In DynamoDB, initially we need to create a table with how many columns? Only one column, and that column should be primary key. Later, can we add the columns? That is the NoSQL concept. So what we do in DynamoDB is initially we go and create a table. So in DynamoDB, initially you create a table with only a single column, and that should be a primary key. Primary key, or you can call it as partition key. Anything is fine. Okay. So creating a primary key is mandatory for the DynamoDB table or not? Yes. Primary key is mandatory in DynamoDB table. It's mandatory. Is it clear till here, everyone? Online getting it? Even though it is developer topic, I'm making it easy. So is it clear till here? Nice. Now we have a concept called composite key. What is that? Composite. Composite key is a combination of primary key plus sort key. What is it, Anna? Sort key. Instead of calling primary key, what should I call? Partition key. You can call it as partition key also. Okay, now what is composite key? Combination of partition key plus sort key. You know what is partition key? What is partition key? Primary key itself. And you need to know what is sort key now. Sort key meaning, now let's say I'm giving a real-time example. Let's say two companies are merging. How many companies? Two companies are merging. In the company A, you have 1000, who is Raju. In company B also, there is an employee number called 1000, some name. So employee numbers are same or not? So now I need to have these two company data in one table. So 1000 is already there. Now I need to go ahead and put one more 1000 because I have another company, 1000 employee number. Is that possible to put 1000 there? Possible? Not possible because employee number is primary key. Employee number is primary. Duplicate values allowed. But now I want to 100% input my 1000 number there. Is it possible? Generally, no. But my requirement here is to allow duplicate values in the primary key column. How? Using the concept called sort key. So now, you tell me what would be the next possible primary key apart from employee number? Phone number. Excellent. Because phone number can be duplicated. No. Employee name can be duplicated. Yes. Salary can be duplicated. Yes. Department can be duplicated. Yes. Which one is not cannot be duplicated? Phone number. So this phone number I call it as sort key. Now what you need to do, you can allow the duplicate values, but the combination should be unique. So now I can allow 1000 here and 1000 employee and employee name is Madhu, right? But is it possible to have the same phone number here? Not possible. For that reason, I need to have, because this Madhu has different phone number, but I can add the same employee number here. Yes. So now he has 70 lakhs, the department, Ria Circular, Dear sir, AWS batch department. Huh? So AWS. You understand? So how can you have a duplicate value for your table? With the combination of sort key. And the combination of partition and sort key should be unique. If we have a unique combination, then you can have a duplicate values. Clear, Nana? So if you want to allow a duplicate values, you can allow it using with the sort key concept. Is it clear online? If we have a, I'll write it here. If we have a primary key, duplicate values allowed, Nana? Normally? No. If we have a primary key for a single column, duplicate values are not allowed. So if you have PK plus SK, then yes, primary key duplicate values are allowed. Clear? Is it clear, Nana? Online. So what is employee number here? Employee number is primary key. So this also call it as hash attribute. What is it? So employee number, we call it as hash attribute. Hash attribute. This you can call it as primary key, but you also call it as hash attribute. And how about phone number? Phone number, we call it as sort key, and you call it as here range attribute. What is that? Whenever you see primary key, employee number, we call it as hash attribute. And this phone number, we call it as range attribute. So whenever you see this diagram, whenever you see the table here, what does this employee number represent for? Hash attribute. And what is phone number represent for here? Range attribute. Is it clear? Online, Nana, is this clear? And in DynamoDB, data is stored in which format? JSON format. Very nice. DynamoDB data is stored in JSON format. And this DynamoDB supports, remember in initial class, I told you there are different models we have in NoSQL. Redis support what model? Redis support. I told you to write, no? Redis support key value model. Our DynamoDB supports document plus key value. Which model that you support, Nana? Document and key value. Clear? Okay. So now you have a concept called, let me give an example. So here, okay. I'll remove Mahesh and I call it as Ramesh. I updated a query. I wrote a update query and changed from Mahesh to Ramesh. Now in my table, Ramesh is there. If someone come and check the table, what is the data he can see? Ramesh only. But can he know, do that person know what was there before? It's already updated. In Excel sheet also you updated. Do you know what was there before? No. The track you have lost, no. The track you have lost. So in order to keep the track, what was updating in the entire table, we have a concept called DynamoDB streams. What is that? DynamoDB streams. DynamoDB streams. So it is like a change log. What is another? So item level changes will be captured here. What is that? Item level changes are captured. Item level changes are captured. So not only DynamoDB streams, there is also another service called Kinesis streams. Kinesis data streams. You can use DynamoDB streams also, or you can use Kinesis data streams also. Kinesis is also a separate service which is used for data streaming, video streamings and all in AWS. So in order to have this change log, in order to capture the item level changes, whenever you do any modifications in the table or in a row or in wherever it is, all that changes will be captured in where? DynamoDB streams. Where, Nana? DynamoDB streams. Getting it? Okay. And also, there is something called TTL. What is that? What is TTL? TTL, not IPL. TTL. Time to live, no? What is the TTL? Say that. Time to live. What is that? Time to live. So how much time that you live is TTL. So here, Vamshi is there. A record Vamshi is there, no? So I have a DynamoDB give a very wonderful feature. What it does it, you can set a TTL for a particular record. Let's say, I want this record to be expired in next 5 days. Can you set TTL for 5 days here? After fifth day, at particular period of time, you can mention the time, this record will get deleted from the table. Example, how this will be used in real time. I'm just assuming and giving example. You have a Netflix subscription, Amazon, Aha, Hotstar, all these subscriptions are there, no? Let's say you did the subscription for 3 months. After 3 months, exactly at 10 o'clock, the access get removed. How? Any person will be there that will be removed manually? Your data will be in some table, and assume that they have set the automatically TTL value set for the next 3 months at this time. Automatically, the data will be removed from the table, and whoever has the names in the table, they will get the access. Otherwise, no. So you are not in the table, you don't get the access. Logic, I'm saying. So if you want to have this kind of, this kind of requirement, you can set up the TTL. What is TTL? Time to live. Getting it, everyone? Now, is this clear till here, everyone? Online. Online, are you with me? Okay. So now we have something called consistency models. What is it, Nana? Mainly in database, what do? We read and then we write. We read and then we write. Read, write. Nana, in read, remember I told you to remember, no? There are 2 models in read. What are those? In our starting class, I told you to remember. Eventually, consistency reads, strongly consistency read. ECR, SCR. Which one is default? ECR is default. Then eventually consistency meaning धीरे से, slowly. If you do any updates, any deletions or any kind of thing, it will be very fast in millisecond, but eventually that's a model. And strongly meaning whenever you do the update, immediately will get reflected. That is called strongly. So which one is cheaper? Which one is costlier? ECR is cheaper. SCR is costly, obviously. So that by default, which one we have? ECR only. So that is also certification. Whatever I wrote on the paint is all certification questions for developers, not for solution architect. So ECR is default. Okay, now I'm gonna taking a topic which you know this already. In table, if you want to retrieve the data very fast, what you need to create? What is that? Indexes. What is that, Nana? Indexes. Remember indexes. Okay, I'll give the same our old school example. You have your textbook. What is there in the first page? Index page, no? So as a teacher, I told you, go to chapter number 6. What will you do? First, what will you do? You go to the index page and see chapter number 6, page number, and directly go to page number. Yes or no? Okay, now I took your textbook and I removed that index page. I teared that index page. And I ask you to go to chapter number 10. What will you do? So you'll do and then and then you will to go with chapter wise, chapter wise, chapter wise. All your pages will be stuck with your saliva only. You will be going like this only, one by chapter wise, chapter. Because now you need to search page by page. Imagine it is in table. Your book is a table. And if you want to retrieve any data without indexes, your request will be going row by row, row by row, row by row, row by row, and it has to go through all millions of rows to get the data. But if we have created an index to the table, so all the index will be there, no? So your request will go to that index and check directly, will jump to that particular, and you will get the fast response. So in order to increase the performance of your table, indexes is also very important. So indexes will be created by whom? You are developer. Developers only, not us. So index will be created by the developers. So that is called index. Can we say it helps to increase the performance of the table? So it is used to retrieve the data, no? Yes, that is called indexes. It helps to increase the performance of the table retrieving the data. It helps to retrieve the data. So there are two types of indexes, Anna. How many types of index are there in DynamoDB? LSI, say that. Local secondary index. What is LSI meaning? Local secondary index. And another one we call it as GSI. Global secondary index. We have two types of indexes. What are those? LSI, GSI. What is it, Nana? LSI, GSI. So this LSI is created only at the time of creating a table. Later, you cannot create it. You cannot create it, you cannot delete it, you cannot modify it, nothing. LSI can be created only at the time of creating a table. GSI, anytime you can create, anytime you can delete, anywhere, flexible, no issues. LSI meaning indexes will be created for what? To retrieve the data, no? To read the data, no? So whenever they created it, it is mandatory for the developers to give partition key plus any column as sort key. That is the combination they will be using to retrieve the data. For GSI, it can be any column as partition key and any column as a sort key. Using this combination, they can retrieve the data. So it is not for us, it is for developers, but it is good to know. What are the two types of indexes that we have? LSI, GSI. Which one is created at the time of creating the table? LSI, I'll write it here. LSI can be created only at the time of creating DynamoDB table. Later, you cannot create, delete, or modify. Whereas GSI, Nana, GSI can be created anytime. This can be created, deleted, modify anytime. So this is on the indexes. Now, let me give you the important topic of the DynamoDB today. That is, these are all fine, but now it is a very important topic. Then I told you, DynamoDB is push button scaling. Yes or no? DynamoDB supports push button scaling. DynamoDB supports push button scaling. on fly. So what is this push button scaling meaning? So I told you, there are few numbers that you need to put automatically to increase the performance. So for that, I will be introducing a topic called provisioned capacity unit. What is that? Provisioned capacity units. Here we have one. Read capacity unit. What is that, Nana? Read capacity units. And what is the other one? Write capacity units. So read capacity units, write capacity units. So in shortcut, I call it as RCU, WCU. Listen this carefully. There are two types of capacity units. What are those? RCU, WCU. How many RCUs that you want to give, that much read performance that you get. How much number you give for WCU, that much write performance you will get. You're getting it? DynamoDB performance depend upon RCU and WCU. Yes or no? DynamoDB performance depends upon RCU and WCU. Okay, now you have a question. Sir, how much RCU we need? How much WCU need? Yes or no? No, by default, I'm telling you, while creating a table, AWS will give you default RCUs and default WCUs. How much it is giving is 5. How many RCUs by default? By default, AWS will give 5 RCUs and 5 WCUs. Yes, sir. Okay, see here. Is it clear? How many RCUs that by default you get it? How many WCUs that you get it? So I'm telling you the power of 5. Forget about 5 RCUs. I'm telling you the power of 1 RCU. How much default that you get? 5. But I'm giving the power of 1 RCU. You know, 1 RCU is equal to 5.2 million reads. How much? 1 RCU. Like this, AWS by default is giving how many RCUs? You're getting it. So 1 WCU, 1 WCU is equal to 2.4 million writes. How much? 2.4. There might be increase also. There might be change also. But this is the minimum thing. So 1 RC is equal to how many million reads? 5.2 million. 1 WC is equal to 2.4. So by default, how much AWS is giving? 5 RCs, 5 Ws. That meaning just imagine how much super high performance that you get from DynamoDB. Nana, yes or no? Online. Per month, Rupali. Right? So now, now you have a question, sir. I am creating a DynamoDB table. How much number I need to give? How much RCU I need to give? 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 or 100 or 200 300 how much? Will you go directly blindly and put the number? No. So what we need to do is, we need to analyze, think, and then put the number. How? We will see it. Now, are you interested to do some mathematics? Ready? Let's have some fun. Okay, let's do some maths. Uh, maths, right? So before that, I'll give you one formula, easy formula. Remember that, and then I'll teach you one problem. Similarly, you need to do the problem. Okay, na? Ready? Let's have some fun. So please write down or remember. For how many capacity units or how many different types of capacity units? 2 types. What are those? RCUs, WCUs. In read, again, we have how many categories? 2 categories. What are those? In read. How consistency models? ECR, SCR. Very good. So for ECR, 1 RCU is equal to 2 reads per second for 4 KB size. This is the formula. Read it. For ECR, 1 RC is equal to how many reads per second? 2 reads per second. How much size? 4 KB size. This is for SCR or ECR? Similarly, for SCR, it's only 1 read per second. How many? Say that for ECR, 1 RC is equal to how many reads per second? 2 reads per second. How much KB size? And for SCR, how many reads per second? 1 read per second. What is the size? Read meaning what is the size? 4 KB. Reads meaning what is the size? 4 KB. I'm writing here 1. Nana, in WCU, do we have any ECR concept? No, there is only 1 WC is equal to 1 write per second. Nana, 1 write per second for 1 KB size. How much KB size? This is the formula that you should remember. Tell me the formulas here. For read capacity units, we have 2 models. What are those? ECR, SCR. For ECR, how many reads per second? 2 reads per second. How much size? 4 KB size. And for SCR, 1 read per second. How much size? 4 KB size. For WC, 1 WC is equal to how many writes per second? 1 write per second. How much KB size? 1 KB size. Do you remember this? Huh? Should we do some maths now? Online, is it clear, this formula? So, I'll teach you one problem. Then, okay, see here. Nana, how do you find how much read capacity requirements that you need? So we have a requirement now. See, this is the requirement. Listen this online carefully. If you have a table and you want to read 100 items per second, how many items per second? With strongly consistency reads. With SCR. SCR meaning how many reads per second? 1 read per second. He is asking reads or writes? Reads meaning what is the size? 4 KB size. Remember this. If you have a table and you want to read 100 items per second with SCR and your item sizes are 8 KB, our size is 4 KB. He's asking 8 KB. What is the provision capacity units that you need to do it? So how you need to do is and how much is in size in question? 8 KB. What is our size? So you need to divide 8 divided by 4. How much? 2 capacity unit. How many items that he's reading per second? 2 into 100. How much? 200. Divided by SCR or ECR? SCR meaning how many reads per second? So divided by 1. How much? 200 read capacity that you need in order to read 100 items per second. Now, if it is ECR divided by 2, that meaning 100. You see the problem? And see, again, I'm saying, take the problem size. How much is in the size in the question? 8 divided by our size. 4, how do you find out 4? Because it is reads. 8 divided by 4, 2. 2 into how many items is reading? 100. How much? 200 divided by ECR or SCR. Okay, similarly for the writes. See here, how many writes per second he is doing? 50. What is the size? Our size? 1 KB. So 4 divided by 1. How much? 4 into 50. How much? 200 divided by 1. Why 1? 1 write per second. How much is that answer? 200. Easy, no? In my style of finding it. Easy. Now, what I do is, I will show you a couple of questions and you tell me the answer. Okay? Okay. The first question is this. 10 strongly consistent reads per second of 4 KB each. Tell me the answer. Put it down. Write down in your book. Find out the answer. Online, tell me the answer. Check what is the size, what is our size, reader, writer, into, divided by, check it and tell me the answer. Online, put the entire equation. Do it, do it. పక్క దాంట్లో చూడొద్దు. Yeah. Done? How much is the answer? How much? Maths Pandit. How much? How much? 100, 200. What is the answer? Answer is 10. Let's see. Yes, 10 RCs is the right answer. Very good. Next question. In one shot, you need to tell me the right answer. Do it, Ramanujam. Huh? That's what I said. Tell me the right answer. Online, carefully read and then tell me the answer. Online, ECR, SCR. ECR meaning how many reads per second? Do it, no, divided by 2. How much? Offline people answered. How about online? I want right answer from online. Come on. Online, you there? Everyone is doing. Hello? Online? It's okay. Only one problem only. Sir, you cheated. You told we'll teach AWS. Now we're teaching maths. What is your answer? Oh, 96. How come, Macha? Okay, you only tell me how to do. What is problem size? 12 divided by our size is 4. How much? 3 into 16. How much? 48. ECR, SCR. Divided by how much? That is the answer. 24. And the last question. But here it is giving how much size? But our size is 4 KB. It's multiples of 4. Is it possible to have 6 KB size? No. Into round up to the nearest one. Nearest one meaning which one? 6 KB is round up to nearest one. For 1000 rupees, I gave you 950 rupees. If I ask you to round up, will you say 900 or 1000? You're going front or back? Here, you have 6 KB size. So you need to round off meaning 8 KB. So consider that as 8 KB size and tell me the answer. Do and tell me. How much? How much? You take 8 KB there, not 6. 8 divided by 4. How much? 2 into 10. How much? Divided by 1. How much? 20 is the right answer. You understand? So if we have a requirement like this, you need to calculate like this and put WCs and RCUs. Clear? Easiest way? Nice. And congratulations, we are done with DynamoDB. Okay? Any pain? No, right? Even though it is developers topic, so I made you very easily, nicely clear of all the topics. And what we do is, tomorrow we have class, okay, morning. Don't miss the class because tomorrow I'll be taking up Actually, no need to do the DynamoDB practicals because directly we need to create tables. No, do we create a tables? No, but what I do is I'll show you how to create tables. No problem. Okay. In DynamoDB, I'll show you how to create tables, how primary keys, sort keys, right? How to take the backups, right? All these things I'll show you just for you. Plus, tomorrow I'll be covering an extraordinary excellent topic, which is CloudFront. Which one, Nana? So CloudFront is a very common thing, but I'll give you the pure real-time thing that we do. I'll taste it now for you. You smell it first. Tomorrow we'll taste. Generally, if you take static website hosting, where do we do static website hosting? S3. Where do we do the static website hosting? S3, no. So for static website hosting, we'll create a public bucket, private bucket. For static website hosting, public bucket. And your objects are also public or private? Public. So you make it public and then you enable static website hosting, you will let the URL and you access it. Creating a public bucket is a good one, recommended or not? Not recommended. So what I do is tomorrow, I'll upload one static website that can be static website, that can be S3 also, that can be ELB also, dynamic also, doesn't matter. But I'm giving an example of S3. Tomorrow I'll create a S3 private bucket and upload all the objects which is still private. I don't enable static website. Through CloudFront, I'll host it. How to secure it? We will do it in tomorrow's class, which is purely pakka real time. Whatever we did, everything's real time only. But this kind of scenarios, no one will tell you in anywhere, no one will teach you. But as we do it generally in our real time, in our companies, I'll be showing tomorrow how to set up CloudFront. CloudFront meaning what is that? CloudFront is used for what purpose? CloudFront. What purpose? Cache, no. What is that? Caching purpose, no. So if you have your customers throughout the globe, to reduce the latency, we'll be using CloudFront. Our website is in one location, Mumbai region. But if you have customers throughout the world, do they need to connect to Mumbai? No. What does the CloudFront has? Edge location. What is that? Edge location. So we'll be caching all our application edge location, and user will be connecting to the edge location and then access it. How to do all these things, we'll see in tomorrow's class. Please ask your friends to join. Don't miss the class. Okay, you can go for movie after afternoons and evenings. Okay, I know to which movie you'll be going. Okay, nice. Is it clear, Nana? So take the screenshot. Yes, I'll be sharing all the PPTs, Sunit. Now, tomorrow we'll cover DynamoDB and CloudFront, and the rest of the topics are left are Route 53 and VPC. These two are pending. These are the most very important topics, I would say. So don't miss the class next week. Okay, so we'll be talking about Route 53s and then VPCs, right? So probably next week would be the last week for us. So probably Saturday, probably Saturday. Okay. Because today I was supposed to be on leave, but just in case next week at this time, if I'm on leave, one day will be extended. Otherwise, okay now. Global accelerator. Did we cover global accelerator? Where are you, Priyanka? Right. There is a question. Please cover interview questions and then real-time scenario. Every day, what are we doing? Every day I'm asking these questions. Whatever we are doing, the real-time questions. Please remove that in your mind that we are, so real-time questions, interview questions. What is the shootout run that we are doing? Interview, right? Interview questions. What are the things that I'm writing on the pane? interview plus certification questions. So please go to that mains. That will be more than sufficient. Priyanka, we have covered this global accelerator. We have covered this global accelerator in EC2 section. Please check it out. Okay. So those who need, will help you there. Rupali, I'll help you there. We'll send if I find something, Ravi and all. SNS, have you created the topic? Have you subscribed it? That is simple as in SNS. Sir, how to connect EC2 Linux machine from our Linux machine? What is that? How to connect EC2 Linux machine from our Linux machine? SSH. I showed you from how to connect to the Linux machines from PuTTY. So there is another way to connect to your Linux machine using SSH. As you have your laptops with Windows, with Windows, for that reason you have used PuTTY. Let's say your laptop is Linux or Mac OS. You have Linux only, command. So you need to use SSH. That one I'll cover. If you want that, we'll cover it in VPC section. In VPC, we'll be talking about that SSH commands. Okay, Zakaria. And in end of the class, end of the course, I mean, next week, I'll be sharing you some practice papers for certifications. It is in online itself. Everyone can do it, but let's talk about in that next week. So what is your next? Okay, now if I say like people are asking so many questions now. Where were you till these days? Every day I'm asking any questions. Please ask personally, professionally, everything. Okay, so any DevOps with AWS project? Okay, there is a question. What is your next path after AWS? How many times I told you the next thing is a DevOps. So as you are now full-fledged on AWS, you have good knowledge on AWS. Now the next step would be the DevOps. In DevOps, what they do is they'll use AWS and then do the practicals. So it will be apt for you to learn their DevOps with AWS now. So if you have not learned AWS, directly if you go to DevOps with AWS, you don't understand anything. Because have you learned about AWS? That is a DevOps class. Why they will teach AWS there? Just think, no. That is DevOps class. Why they will teach AWS? As they need to have virtual machines, they will be launching EC2 instances. For that reason, they'll touch EC2, EC2, EC2. Launching. That's it. Nothing they will teach. S3 bucket they'll create. But in S3, how much deeper we have learned? So you have full pledge of AWS now. And next step is DevOps. There we'll be learning DevOps. DevOps plus AWS will be the nice thing for you. Ask any other questions. Resume preparations, resumes and all. I'll be sharing one document to you, which is called roles and responsibilities. So resume format, anyone can have, you can take it. And then what you do is, I'll giving these roles and responsibilities, pick up few points and then put it. Why I don't give resumes, I'll give an example. I don't know whether I told you this or not. Previously, in previous batches, I used to share resume. How much time will it take for me to share resume? Just imagine how many resumes I'll be having. How much time will it take me to send an email to you, put it in classroom? But what has happened is, I shared one resume with sample project. What is a project? Whatever we have done. So wait for next week. We will doing VPC, Route 53. Put VPC, Route 53, EC2, deploying applications, right? Beanstack, S3 buckets, RDS. If you mix all these things, that will become project only. So what you do is, what I did was, I gave that sample example project. I just wrote some sample lines projects, and then I put it in classroom. I mean, people use it. And in my one batch, how many students will be there in total? 150 in few batches, 200, 225, 250 will be also there. What they did was, everyone, most of the people took this resume and started appearing for interviews. In interviews, in my experience, I have so many friends in companies, right? By the time they see your resume, and on the face they're asking, are you Riaz sir student? Are you a Riaz sir student? And this guy got shocked. Sir, how do you know? Change the project, Ray. Everyone are keeping the same line, same project. And they got to know that you are a candidate. You understand? So this is how it is happening, which indirectly it is somehow uh, not good for you. So for that reason, I will not be sharing the resumes. Resume you can download it from anywhere. You go to Google, you can have thousands of resumes, you'll get it. But roles and responsibilities will be there. No, no, no. Objective, you can put it something. Your marks, you will put it. Should I give you to table that? And then next, your that name, gender, married or not, you put it all these things. Should I give all these things? Come on. Later, you put one. If we, there, you have to put what are the things that technical things, and then what are the things that you have learned in AWS. All these things, I will give it to you. Whichever is suitable for you, take it and put it in your resume. So that means you have your own resume, which is unique. You can attend interviews with that. Understood? So this is what we'll be doing it. Clear enough? Any other questions that I help you with? If I join a team, what info questions do I need to ask to the team? What is that related? There is a question. If I join a team, what info question do I? Okay. Yeah. So there is a question here that Sunil is asking. Sir, if I join a team, what kind of questions I need to ask? What will you ask? What will you ask? Is it related technical? If it is technical thing, you no need to ask. If you are a fresher, they will tell you how to do. If you are an experienced guy, you know how you do it. Generally, if you go to some place which you don't know, you will be asking some persons, no? What is the question that you will be asking? Anna, where to go, where address, where exact, tell me. Similarly, here also there is nothing called predefined questions that you will be asking in the team. It is based on the requirement, based on the flow, you need to take care of it. So there is nothing questions, Sunil, that predefined will be there that you will be asking to the team. No. So when you join in the company, in the team, what they do is they will assign you a task. That task, you need to do it. What is that task? Who knows? No one knows. It's purely depend upon the requirement. As you have learned AWS, that can be an EC2 task, that can be a load balancers task, that can be S3 task, that can be RDS task, that can be any task that we have learned. As you have done the practicals, you can easily do the task. If you have not done the practicals, then you will say, understood? Any other questions that I help you with? Ask now itself. Many people left. Huh? Sir, will you be taking one lecture on DevOps? We'll see next week. Let's see. We'll see next week. Any other questions? Okay. So if not, very good. So tomorrow we have class. We'll be talking about CloudFront, which is very important. Don't miss the class. Can you give the final CC with smile, please, today? You can, Manisha, but you need to handle that 4 years. Great. So that is all, guys, for today. And I'll see you tomorrow with the next topic. Until then, take care. Bye-bye. Have a nice day. See you tomorrow. Thank you, Sai. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.